All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 7th annual Dual Credit Conference. I'm sorry that we cannot meet in person as we usually do, and we have in years past, but I think under the circumstances, this is the safest way to do it and still maintain the tradition of sharing what we're doing in terms of our partnerships with dual credit and early college and the role that the college plays in these partnerships. We are starting really with a pre-conference session today. We're going to have pre-conference sessions throughout the week, and then our 3 main sessions on Saturday to conclude with our keynote speaker. And so I am going to let the facilitators mention a few ground rules in terms of chatting, questions, signing, etc. So, Ms. Cadena?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Luz Cadena. I am one of your 2 session moderators. With us is also Ms. Lorena Gonzalez, math faculty. Just a couple reminders to please keep your microphones and webcams off to help conserve bandwidth for our presenters. Also, please access the chat if you want to communicate as colleagues, share ideas. We ask you to hold your questions till the end of the session, where we will read your questions out loud to your presenters. Halfway through the session, we'll provide you the link to officially sign into the session. And towards the end of the session, we'll also provide you a link to evaluate our session. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and post them in the chat and I'll answer your questions there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cadena. And again, this is something that we don't do every day, at least I don't. So we ask you for your patience, and but looking forward to answering your questions. So today I'm joined by my fellow deans, Dr. Carlos Amaya and Dr. Myshie Pagel. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we do in the college and how it connects with the work that you do for high school students. So a little bit about, can you hear me all okay? I hope you can. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you.
It's good.
All right, so a little bit about what we do in the region. We offer college courses for dual credit to close to 10,000 students across the region. Everywhere in every independent school district, we have classes for charter school students, for private school students, and we have also some homeschool students in the region. So tremendous work is so I'm getting a message that the PowerPoint is minimized. Is that right? Can you all see my PowerPoint okay?
There we go. It's back.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So a little bit about enrollment this fall semester. So as many of you know, enrollment in community colleges has decreased this fall semester. Of course, the pandemic having a big impact on all the schools in the nation, really. And for us as well, our enrollment has declined some for fall semester, but not so our dual credit and early college high school enrollment. So again, as I was saying, close to 9,500 students. Many of them are in an early college high school. We still have a good proportion in dual credit. And again, dual credit for us means that students can take college courses for core curriculum, career technical education, and foreign language, whereas early colleges are geared towards completion of a degree or a certificate. So really, this fall semester, about a third of our enrollment is high school students, dual credit and early college high school students. And this is a slide that has morphed through the years. So back in 2006, when we only had one early college high school, Mission Early College High School, now forward the tape to 2020, we have 20 schools, and we have 7 in the planning year that will open in fall 2021. With a change in the last couple of years, so we've traditionally had early college high schools, but starting in 2019, we opened our first 2 PTECs, or Pathways in Technology Early College High Schools, and we open a 3rd one this year. For next year, the vast majority will be PTECs. And so our world is expanding. We are having more of an impact on high school students, which again, students who take college courses during high school are more likely to graduate, more likely to transfer to for a post-secondary degree, and more likely to complete. So we are happy to support this effort, but it takes some work. And in today's presentation, we'll talk a little bit about that behind the scenes work that the deans and I do in support of dual credit and early college. So I'm going to pass it on to my colleagues now.
So I'll start, Tony. So thanks so much, and it's so nice to be here, and I see all the people joining the meeting. So a lot of familiar faces, people from some of our partner institutions, as well as from the college. So nice to see you all joining. So my name is Carlos Amaya. I'm Dean of Architecture, Art, Math, and Science at the Valle Verde campus, VPCC. And my colleague, Dr. Myshie Pagel, who's one of my fellow deans at the Valle Verde campus, is going to jump in right here because we didn't split this up, but Myshie, you can jump in. Those, Tonie, I think it was 20 early colleges and PTECs that you just showed on the previous slide. We're giving you guys this behind the scenes of how things work. These 12 instructional deans that you see listed in front of you sort of divide all those schools and take charge of them, you know, is serving as liaisons. I'll tell you more about my specific role in a minute, but just this sort of general look at what the instructional deans do. And you could see that some of the deans here, like Dr. Lydia Tena and Dean Joshua Villalobos, are sole administrators at their campus. And then the other campuses have multiple deans. So what is it that the deans do at these in their respective divisions? A whole lot of work goes on behind the scenes to get classes added. So I'll start at those bullets over there on the side. Your schools submit these requests through our offices, and then we look at these requests with the help of, sometimes we have assistants, or we have dual credit liaisons, or our faculty discipline coordinators who review these for meeting times, for credential faculty. And so we go a little back and forth between the dual credit office that works for student services, and then we finally submit the schedule request. So we actually make the course. We also work at credentialing faculty. So when a new faculty member wants to come on board, they work through their principal, then through the Office of Dual Credit, so Tonie's office, to get this process started, where we review credentials, build a folder, and then that gets sent to our office and we complete this. And part of that, getting a faculty member credentialed, is trying to get them to be a part of our division, right? Once you become credentialed through this process, you are then a member of the El Paso Community College faculty. So part of that is we help onboard you, introduce you to discipline coordinators, provide you with resources that you need, discuss curriculum, all kinds of things. There's other things that might go on too if you're going to teach the class at your campus, such as facilities assessments. Dean Badillo's office also takes charge of that. So Myshie, you want to jump in and cover a couple of these things?
Sure.
The process can be extensive, and so we do send out our faculty for facility assessments, which can include biology. It can include automotive. Depends on the program or courses that we're looking to have as dual credit on a campus site. In addition, if there are any student concerns, just as Dr. Amaya mentioned, the dual credit faculty member is an EPCC faculty member. The dual credit students are also EPCC students. There are processes in place to help students have a voice if they have concerns, and we encourage them all to follow that process. I believe it's fair and equitable for all, and it allows everyone to have to contribute to the conversation. And so those have been in place for a long time. Another area are the student petitions for substituting courses in a pathway. There's all kinds of things you could have a student petition for, but it needs to be documented. So those come through our office as well. And a lot come through sometimes. And I'd like to add another piece here. COVID-19 has brought more opportunities for us to do work, I should say. Many of the deans, as you look at this page right now, I'm thinking of Dean Hajar, Dean Meager, who else is on there? Dr. Valerio, particularly Dean Webb, those deans and myself do have a small number of programs coming on campus. So in addition to the list you see here, and many of them are, most of them are not dual credit, but I just want to give you a sense for the workload sometimes that we have and the responsibilities. We are responsible for contact tracing students and faculty that come on campus. We have a very robust COVID-19 process. We make sure that any person who comes on campus signs in every day and goes through a simple health check, as many of the ISDs do. And it takes time. I'll just tell you, I probably spent 2 hours today on emails specifically related to COVID-19. So our responsibilities are many and diverse, which makes this job very interesting and very rewarding. And we also appreciate the great partnership we have with all the ISDs in the region here. And we all want to work together to provide strong educational pathways for all of our students.
Can we go to, I think we'll go to the next slide. Yeah, so thanks, Myshie. Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do. So I'll tell you a little bit more about my area. As I said, my name is Carlos Amaya. I'm Dean of Architecture, Art, Math, and Science, but you can see that list, a few other things, right? So engineering and kinesiology added to that list as well. So we call our division the Math and Science Division for short. We also have a few other areas that fall under my division, like the Bridges to the Baccalaureate grant, which provides biomedical research opportunities for undergraduate students. The STEM Grow grant, which is multidisciplinary, provides engineering, project-based learning opportunities through math, biology, summer research opportunities. We also have the Makerspace, which came out of the STEM Grow grant in a partnership with the college, which is almost going to open. So that's really exciting. So hopefully you all are going to get excited about it and have lots of questions. So as I tell you a little bit about what we do in the division, this will pertain also to the other divisions. As you saw, all those instructional deans, you know, everybody here serves as a liaison to one or more early college high schools or PTECs. I get to serve as a liaison to 3 early college high schools. That's Valle Verde Early College High School, Clint ISD Early College Academy, and Falcon Early College High School. That's the newest one that I took on, which is Eastlake High School. So what we do in this case and serve as this liaison is we hold monthly meetings to make sure that this partnership is solid, right? To make sure that we're addressing any concerns between the ISDs that we're serving, the students, and then El Paso Community College. So I'll tell you, I'm glad Dr. Pagel brought up COVID, because one thing that hasn't stopped is we haven't stopped working because of COVID. We might be working remote. We might be having these kinds of conferences and meetings because of the remote nature, the demands of this pandemic. But I'll tell you what, the work hasn't stopped, and I know that's what you all are feeling. You're probably working double. Well, I feel we've been doing this, and especially with our early college high schools and dual credit programs, in terms of transitioning to online, in terms of making sure that we're supporting our students through these partnerships. Typically, these advisory team meetings that we have with early college high schools meet, 3 times in a semester. So let's say September, October, November. Well, since the pandemic started, we have not stopped meeting, at least on my advisory team. And it's been really important because we've been able to meet and any of the challenges that we've been faced with. We have a great relationship with our administrators. I saw Dr. Martinez from Clint ISD Early College Academy joining. I saw some of the faculty from other early colleges joining. And what we're doing is we're trying to support you through our regular meetings and making sure that we're able to address any of those challenges. So I hope that you all have lots of questions right now as we move on to Dr. Pagel. So at the end of this, you all can ask about how we handle some of these issues that have arisen because of the pandemic.
So I'll pick up and I'll just mention that we do see your question, Christian, in the chat. It's about faculty evaluations, and we'll address that towards the end. So I didn't want you to think we were ignoring you. So my official title is the Dean of Education and CTE, and it encompasses 12 different disciplines. You see them listed there. And I like to group them into the phrase of the infrastructure of a city. These pathways, these disciplines, represent degree pathways that students can complete that just require an associate's degree, and they can have starting salaries anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 a year. And they also provide a stability, economic stability for families and economic stability for a city, because as businesses are looking to move here and expand, they want to make sure our educational facilities are well equipped with great teachers. And I will say, starting this fall, we now have a 2x2 with UTEP in our teacher prep program for the AAT and the TEED. We have 2 degree programs that will transfer into the College of Ed. They're also looking for places that they can take their vehicles to get checked and know that the people who are working there are honest and quite capable of diagnosing their cars, childcare, child development, sign language interpreter. This is a growing field. I'll tell you that with an associate's degree, and if you pass the state exam, starting pay is $25 an hour. If you get credentialed for medical sign language or legal sign language, it can go up to $75 to $100 an hour. And again, many of these fields represent the hot jobs in our city. The workforce development has identified the teacher pathway, IT, of course, the health occupations, which is under another dean, and the health occupations and nursing is at the Rio Grande campus mostly. And the asterisk indicates the areas that we have offered dual credit or are open to early college high school. Some of these programs don't allow it to be on the high school campus, but the students are coming to us. And others, there is the flexibility of allowing credentialed faculty to teach it on the high school campus. I think one of the great things about dual credit in early college high school is not only allowing students to get credit, but allowing them to have a college experience on a college campus. As someone who has taught in the region for over 20 years, and knowing our students, sometimes it's very challenging for someone to drive from one area of town to another. And just having this opportunity to partner with EPCC gives students and parents the opportunity to see what our campuses offer, and that it's a safe place for their kids, and there's great things that they can learn. So in addition to these disciplines, along with many other things, but pertaining to dual credit in early college, I currently am a liaison for Empire Early College High School and Clint PTech, which is focusing on automotive, and the Riverside PTech, which is really the career career center at Riverside that is will be offering automotive and currently is offering drafting under Dr. Valerio. And then this next year, as Dean Badillo mentioned, we have 7 more coming on, 7 more early college or PTECs. And 2 of these will be under my area, my division. I'll be the liaison. And those will be PTECs particularly pertaining to IT and computer science. So we have a very busy division, but it's very diverse. And again, that's one of the joys that I have of teaching. One of my favorite jobs as a dean actually is to do classroom evaluations. And I get to go in and see all kinds of cool stuff happening. And every time I go in and I leave a classroom, I think, oh, I wish I could do this now. I wish I could do that now. So there are some incredible things happening. In addition to our pathways, we have lots of new buildings coming up. Dr. Amaya has some programs that will be housed in the new classroom building that we have at VV, and IT and computer science will be housed there. And also something that we can offer here at EPCC for those students who are interested in cybersecurity is that when they complete their degree, we have a designation from Homeland Security and NSA as a cyber center. And so they will have that on the transcript as well. And we also have a brand new transportation center, which we house automotive, collision, and diesel. So a lot of exciting things are happening. I do have a website down at the bottom, epcc.edu/CTE. All of the career and technical programs are listed there. It's very easy to get to if you drop it in the browser. And you'll have choices from all of our areas that we offer in the district, and it will take you to the contact page. So I'll stop at that.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Pagel. So a little bit of history. The Office of the Dean of Dual Credit and Early College High School did not exist prior to the summer of 2016. So a lot of these responsibilities that you see in this slide kind of fell to different deans across the region. So in 2016, VP Smith, our Vice President of Instruction and Workforce Education, of course, recommended to President Serrata to create a new division, and allowed me to step into that. And I saw some of the names of my former faculty from Math and Science. I used to be the Dean of Math and Science before Dr. Amaya. So as you can see, we kind of brought some of those responsibilities together under one division. And so my division doesn't deal directly with instruction, just like the other instructional deans, but we work on a lot of kind of regional activities. Some of them not a lot of fun, but things that need to be done. And so definitely part of what my role and the role of my division is maintaining those partnerships. And so my office is the point of contact for EPCC leadership, cabinet, the deans, for faculty and for staff. Any question related to dual credit or early college, I can identify how it can be addressed. I might not be able to address it directly, but I can identify who can address it. We also pride ourselves in maintaining a close relationship with all our partnering ISDs, with the charter schools and the private schools, and also with our 4-year partnering institutions here in El Paso. UTEP, of course, Texas Tech Health Science, in the case of Dr. Amaya, of course, the Texas Tech College of Architecture, and Region 19. So we do a lot of things. We collaborate on many activities, events, councils, committees, just to make sure that we provide a uniformed experience for the students in the region. Some of the work that now happens through my office, I'm labeling compliance because it has to be done. We have to have this kind of documents and activities to ensure that things run smoothly. And so we manage dual credit partnership agreements. These are like the big umbrella agreements for dual credit with all of our ISDs, again, charter schools and private schools. For early colleges and PTECs, we have specific memoranda of understanding or MOUs. We also collect information from the different disciplines as to what is the current adoption list, textbook adoption list, particularly for those adoptions for classes that can be taught at high schools. So we allow a certain window for those schools to keep the same edition. And my office, we provide the list, and also we track the different adoptions. This is very challenging. I have fantastic staff in my office that have to manage and communicate with the schools to ensure that we have a current textbook tracking. We also are accredited by SAC-COC, and part of that accreditation process is ensuring that the schools where we offer college courses for dual credit, which are our off-sites, are up to par regarding college courses. So we regularly conduct facilities assessments, again, in coordination with the different divisions. And we also coordinate with other areas, library assessments, distance learning support services assessments, student services, and of course the classroom facilities assessments. Again, this ensures that we're on the same page and that we feel comfortable that the courses that we offer are of the same rigor and quality and value as the ones that we would offer on campus. As Dr. Amaya mentioned earlier, the deans finalize credential folders, but we took it upon ourselves in our office to assist in collecting all the documentation and having a little bit of a back and forth and answering questions regarding which courses apply, which degree, which university is accredited. So we do all of that work to put together a credential folder to pass it on to the designated dean for that particular faculty member. And again, I saw in attendance quite a few dual credit faculty, and that has been the process for the last 5 years. We also do, again, in my office, we oversee 4 dual credit counselors that I also see some of them in attendance today. And they're in charge of doing new student orientations for all of our high school students. That's a lot of students, right, that need to be informed as to what it means to be a college student. And so they conduct those orientations, and also they conduct advising sessions, sometimes one-on-one, sometimes as a class. Now they're doing it remotely, and they're doing a fantastic job on that. TEA has a new name, I guess, for the umbrella where the early college high schools lie, and that is the college and career readiness model. So there's actually 3 models, and the T-STEM academies are the third model. Although we do partner with many schools for T-STEM academies, we don't work that closely with them because they're not, the aim is not completion. So we definitely have our dual credit partnership agreement, and schools can definitely offer college courses for dual credit for T-STEM academies as well. Now, all designation applications have to come through us. And so every year we have 50, 60 designation applications for existing schools and then for new schools as well. My responsibility is to look through them and make sure that they, they reflect our partnership accurately, and then to submit them for signatures by the president's office. I am the administrative liaison for one early college, Isleta High School Early College Academy. I lead the Leadership Council, Early College High School Leadership Council, again, that brings together all of the stakeholders for early college. I participate in advisory committees with my fellow deans. I have the pleasure of presenting to the board. Unfortunately, this year it won't be in person to talk about early college and what we have been doing in the region. And I am also the co-chair of statewide group that is called the Dual Credit Innovation Collaborative. So we work very closely with other partners of the community colleges in the state just to make sure that we're on the same page regarding dual credit and early college. And through my office, we host a number of events like this one, right, the Dual Credit Conference. We typically have the Dual Credit Forum in the spring. We did not have one this year because it was right around the time when we were deciding what was going to happen after spring break. And so unfortunately, we did not have one this year. We do have the Dual Credit Summer Convening, which is specifically geared towards newly credentialed dual credit faculty. And so again, we lean on faculty coordinators from the different divisions to assist us with that first exposure to what it is that we do at EPCC for high school students. The counselors do a fantastic job. They lead the Counseling Institute twice a year, again, to bring all of the partners together. I'm sure, there's a few things that I'm skipping, and if you have a question regarding something else perhaps that I did not bring up, or something that maybe is not clear about these responsibilities, but I think the message really is we're all a team, right? So we all have to work together to make this work. And sometimes behind the scenes it's not very clear what one dean does or the other one does, but for our partners and for our faculty and staff, we're here working together, and I love the collaboration that I have with my fellow deans. We make a very good team, I believe, and I am happy that this new division was created. I think we're fine-tuning the responsibilities as we go as well. All right, so I think that it is time to open it up for questions. And
Yes,
so,
Dean, we have a question. How are faculty evaluations taking place this year, specifically for newly credentialed faculty?
Who wants to jump in on that one? I'll jump in first here. So depending on the person in my division, the coordinators will be reaching out to the dual credit faculty. I know some ISDs are meeting face-to-face, some are all virtual. We're looking at having an opportunity to go into those virtual rooms and do an evaluation. We also have asynchronous learning, and so there's a variety of ways. We do have two instruments that we use. One's a face-to-face and the other one's online, and we're looking at both of those to see which would best represent what the instructor is doing in their classroom. So we also have a faculty committee, faculty evaluation committee, and they're looking at what adjustments we can make for COVID. And I'll let my fellow deans jump in addition to that.
I think you got it, Myshie. Yeah, we're still continuing with faculty evaluations, right? So our coordinators, who you should know, right, and your discipline coordinators, will be reaching out to you and might need to request access, right, to your area, whatever platform you're using. So we talked about this just recently. If you're not using Blackboard as your primary way of communicating with the students, I know everybody's using it to post grades and to post the syllabus, right? But aside from that, if you're using some other platform, we'll have to just work out a few details as to how the faculty member might get to access that to complete the evaluation.
and also I'm just going to jump in. So if this is a good example of this is something that is handled through the division offices, but if there's an issue with a particular ISD, for example, typically the deans flag that for me, and then I'll address it instead of going specifically with each discipline or with each course. It is much easier to work directly with my ISD liaisons and address that question.
All right, I'll just add, because because I don't see a question. So one thing, is always, that's our division offices are here to support you. So if you have a question like that, you should not hesitate to either contact your coordinator or the division office. One of the things that we do in the onboarding process of bringing a faculty member in is, making sure that they understand that we're here to support you. That's our job. And by supporting you, we support the students, right? So I always tell a story of, when I went to grad school, I remember the first, you go in as a teaching assistant, or I did, and it was like, here's the lab and here's the materials and that's the room, and class meets on these days and show up and teach it. And we don't want that to be the case, right? We don't ever want you to go in just sort of cold. We try to give you as much support as we can through the discipline coordinators. Our coordinators really are the life of our division offices. They're the ones that primarily support you, but also know that our division offices there, I know we didn't talk about them a lot, but in our division offices, we also have our administrative support. So a senior administrative associate, an administrative associate. They're the ones I know that you all deal with quite a bit too. Questions about textbooks, calendars, some of the things that you might not feel about, like reaching out to the coordinator or to me directly. Our offices support you in that as well.
Maybe I could jump in also and say, to look ahead, where we all currently have virtual offices that we have set up, but they're not as public as we would like them to be, and that is something that's coming within the next month or so. We hope that it'll be easier for anyone to access our division office through a virtual room.
We do have a question regarding evaluations of facilitators. Will there be an evaluation of facilitators?
We don't evaluate facilitators. We provide some training for them at the beginning of every long semester. We also have the facilitator handbook, and perhaps I forgot to mention that we do have a dual credit instructional committee at EPCC, and they have been very busy doing many things, and one of them was developing all of those handbooks that we have on our dual credit page. And you have on the screen the link to the dual credit page, and you can find those handbooks. So there's no evaluation of facilitators. I guess that's the short answer.
Thank you. We do have another question. Are the New Mexico school districts off limits for us? Asking for a friend who lives in New Mexico but wants her kids to go to EPCC.
Right, so I don't believe that we partner up with, and actually I was approached some time ago by Gadsden ISD, and unfortunately we do have different core curricula. We have so there might be some disconnect because we're in different states, and we also don't like to go outside of our service area. I guess that's a good policy for institutions. However, students can enroll at EPCC directly. And so maybe this is information again for friends. So we do have dual credit that is typically routed through the high schools, but any student who meets the college readiness criteria can enroll even if they're in high school as early admission students. Now their tuition is not waived, but as you know, EPCC has very low tuition. So it is another opportunity for students to connect with those, directly if they want to.
Thank you. We have another question. As the current situation has made us change the way we approach teaching a course online, how do you all feel about expanding some of these online programs in the future for students that are more inclined to online classes for expansion purposes? Of course, this is after we return to face-to-face.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I see that, Mr. Martel. I think that's if you read anything, so I read the news and you see everything going on every day. That's sort of the discussion, right? What's going to be the new normal, right, when we return? We have lots of disciplines that in the past might not have been so might not have been considering online courses, right, or online delivery. and they're finding out that there are ways to do this, and they're finding that some students respond to it well. So I think that we're going to see, there's probably going to be some really robust conversations about which courses are going to remain online, or maybe increasing offerings. I'm already getting faculty that reach out to me about that, even as we were preparing for the spring and not knowing that now we're going to be primarily remote for the spring. Everybody should know that. But as we were preparing and not knowing where we were going, I was already getting a lot of discipline saying, hey, this might be a good idea to continue this online, not due to COVID, but finding out that that modality was working for them, for the discipline, and for some of the students.
So jumping in also, I think that this has given us an opportunity to, we're going to have a lot of data, right? After all of this is said and done. So I know that we had looked in the past into online for dual credit because, you know, I guess that's how dual credit started at EPCC back in 1999. It was only online courses taught by our faculty. But as we have developed this criteria of having a facilitator and having that support for students, typically when we looked at data, students would have between 10 and 20 points better completion numbers than the traditional online students, right? And so I think that this is something else that we're all going to have to look at. What happened when we went online? How were students successful? Because ultimately that's our goal, right? As much as we want to accommodate for faculty to teach the way they want to teach, the point is we want our students to be successful. So we want to offer a wide variety of options so that students are able to find whatever is their match, the right match for them.
Maybe I could just add something. I think this pandemic has given us an opportunity to really look at how we deliver education. And as there are many students who prefer online, there are also many who are just want to come on campus for face-to-face. So we could be developing hybrid courses where a course could be, some students would be online, some could be face-to-face, and they're all in the same section or something like that. So as we move through this time, it's a trying time in different ways, but it's also a time to look at ways we can innovate and just make our educational pathways as accessible as possible to all of our region and all of our students.
Do we have any more questions? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I hope that you know how to get a hold of all of us. Again, remember that you can go to epcc.edu, go to the search button and type our names or type our divisions, and you can find information. I'm going to stop sharing here now for a second so that I can actually see the chat and see if there are any questions. So I see that Ms. Cadena posted the link for those who want or need faculty development credit. So please make sure that you follow that. And I don't think I see any more questions. I want to thank my colleagues, Dr. Amaya and Dr. Pagel, for joining me in this presentation. Again, I hope that next year we can go back to being in person, having that fabulous culinary arts program, breakfast and lunch, and all of the great conversations, right, that are definitely more productive when it is one-on-one or face-to-face, and that networking opportunity. And I encourage you to look at the program and attend other sessions this week, and definitely on Saturday. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what our keynote speaker has to say. So I know definitely I'll be hosting him on Saturday. So again, thank you very much and have a great evening.